Minnesota opened its 2025 with a hard-fought win over a dangerous Buffalo team that simply couldn't hang with the Gophers in the fourth. Minnesota dominating the final 15 minutes to salt away the win. P.J. Fleck saying afterwards, quote, "I played in that league, I coached in that league. This is their Super Bowl, and we got everything they had," end quote. At the end of the day, though, the Gophers got an important season-opening win. And the head coach of Minnesota, P.J. Fleck, kind enough to join us for the big interview. Hey, P.J., I'd like to start there. How satisfying was it for you and the staff to watch your team early in the year against a really good team come up clutch in the closing 15 minutes?
Yeah, I think the Mid-American Conference this year is really top-heavy when you start to look at Ohio and you look at Buffalo and you look at Toledo. You look at all the games those teams played, they were somewhat pretty close. And that's your shot to go ahead and beat a Big Ten team. And Pete Lemmo does a really good job. There's a really good Buffalo team that won 9 games last year. I was really proud of our team in the fourth quarter. We had a 9-minute and 45-second drive, which is, I think, the longest drive we've ever had here at the University of Minnesota. We talked about really winning 4-minute, winning one-possession games in the offseason, what it's going to take for us to get to where we want to go. And the 4 minutes going to be really, really critical in that. And I thought we did that in the final drive. It was a 16-play drive. That's Minnesota Golden Gopher football. And you look at some of the biggest wins we've ever had here, we had to take the air out of the ball in the fourth quarter, and I thought we were able to do that. Got to play a lot cleaner this week. Got to clean up some different things. But I don't necessarily think the score necessarily represented exactly how much we dominated that game.
PJ, 11 guys have to do their part on offense, but when you look at what you have at quarterback and the remarkably talented Drake Lindsey and Darius Taylor, who does a little bit of everything at that running back position, and everything he does at an elite level, what does that allow you guys to do offensively?
Yeah, it's a great question, Rick. And Coach Wannstedt knows this. I mean, the best friend to a quarterback, especially a freshman quarterback, is an elite run game. And I feel like up front for us, this might be one of the most athletic offensive lines we've ever had here at the University of Minnesota. They all look about like 275, 280, but they're all really 325. And they're really athletic. They can run. They're a really close unit. And then you throw Darius Taylor in there, and you throw AJ in there, and Cam and Feme. And we've got a backfield that's probably deeper than we've had in the past as well. So when you have a young quarterback, now Drake is very talented. He's 6'4", he's 230 pounds. This kid's a state championship in high school. He was a Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Arkansas. He played a little bit last year, learned a lot from Max Brosmer. But at the end of the day, his best friend's going to be a really good run game, which is going to set up our RPO game, our run play action game, and really going to help him out with some quick game as well.
Hey, Coach, I realize that everybody wants to be associated with a winner, whether it's football, whether it's business, whatever. Nobody has done a better job, in my opinion, of replacing assistant coaches. Everybody seems to want to find out what your secret formula is. That's why other people want you, your assistants. My question would be how do you replace assistant coaches so well without taking a step backwards and having to waste time, as we say, on coaching the coaches, where you can keep moving forward with the plan?
Well, we all know, as you know, Coach, being a head coach, you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And over 13 years, 9 years here at Minnesota, I've been very fortunate to have amazing assistant coaches that have come to us a lot of times really young, and then they develop into what they want to be. My job as a head football coach is to develop the talent and multiply the talent around me, period. Whether that is players, taking them from where they are to where they dream of being, or coaches, it's the exact same thing. My job is to develop coaches. Now, I'm not going to do this forever. I've got a lot of young coaches on my staff. Our defensive coordinator is 33 years old. To be 33 again, I never thought I'd really say that, but to be 33 again, and he's paid his dues. He's been with me all 13 years. I love when our assistant coaches leave, Coach Wannstedt. I take a lot of pride in that. I know I'm not going to be the highest bidder, whether that's NIL or whether that's paying my coaches. I think the one thing that I know that I fit at the University of Minnesota is I've always had to be able to do more with less. Whether that was Western Michigan, whether that was Minnesota, whether that was my upbringing, whether that me as a player or as a coach, you've always had to find a way to do more with less. And you do that with really good people around you and really good coaches. And if they have opportunities to make their life better, I want to support them, whether that's being a head coach or a coordinator, taking the next step, getting closer to home, making more money, whatever it is. I want to support them, and we take a lot of pride of not only just hiring really good coaches, but also developing within the program. We have a lot of former players now on our staff. We have a lot of people who have come up through the ranks within our staff. Just take a lot of pride in the hiring process. And I think the number one quality of a head football coach is the hiring process. Can you hire really elite people and really elite talent?
Who, as you look back on your playing and coaching career, NFL and college, who would have influenced you maybe the most to keep your consistency? I mean, nobody does. I mean, you're consistent what you do. You do it year in and year out, and you don't waver from that. Is there one particular coach or person that's influenced that?
Well, I look back to Joe Novak when I played at Northern Illinois University, who's now retired and, one of the greatest coaches in the Mid-American Conference. And, he gave me my first full-time job, and because I played for him. And he thought I'd be a really good coach. Mike Nolan thought that, Jim Tressel thought that, but my first full-time job was given me by Joe Novak, who I played for. And I think that's who I looked at, who he hired. And you look at the Scott Schaefers of the world and the Pat Narduzzi's of the world, the Dan Rochars of the world, the Matt Canadas of the world. And all those guys became head coaches and coordinators somewhere else and elevated their life. He was able to hire former players, Thomas Hammock, who was my college roommate, myself. He brought back a lot of these former players who we thought would be really good coaches. And I think that's who I emulate a little bit of keeping the culture and the program together as much as possible. And I mean, Tanner Morgan's doing our game. I've been trying to hire Tanner for years. I mean, he'd be the next one to come in here. But it's just a lot of fun, as you know, Coach Wanstead, to hire people that are really good people and you know where they want to go, and they've earned that right. Maybe then I've been coaching very long. I wasn't in coaching very long, but because of how I played and because my coach knew my dreams, he was able to hire me pretty early in my career. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I'm at.
PJ, I want to talk about a young man who may be the most interesting man in college football, and that's Koi Perich. He's only been on the field for a year, and yet he has done so many amazing things. You look at the small-town upbringing that he really credits to being the man that he is today. He talked about the fact that he wanted to play both ways and to become a better pass catcher, so he's working out there with a self-bought jugs machine. There's a story about the row the boat flying over one of his high school playoff games. I mean, he's quickly kind of becoming a legend in his own time during just his sophomore year at Minnesota. What makes Koi so unique?
Well, first of all, he's only been here 14 months. And when you actually think about all he's accomplished, he's only been here 14 months. And if it wasn't for a guy by the name of Jeremiah Smith, who's so darn good, I think even more people would know about him because I think Jeremiah took that spotlight as a true freshman last year. But Koi just loves to play. Like, this is an old school throwback type player that was probably outside at Isco, Minnesota as a kid from 6 in the morning till 10:30 at night, just outside playing, doing something. Multi-sport athlete in high school. He's very, very confident. He's a little quirky. Some call it weird. It's just unique because he has such a spirit to play the game. Offense, defense, special teams, impact the game at a high level. And when you talk about loving ball, that's hard to find in 2025. There's so many other things that people love: the money, the NIL, the endorsements, the commercials, the attention, social media. This dude just loves ball. I'm not saying he's not involved in the other things. He would just rather play ball. So when you have somebody like that on your football team, it's infectious. And that can spread to the offense, to the defense, and special teams, and throughout our team. And that's why I like this team so much, because they're all built a little bit that way, where they just love going out and playing the game. They love practicing. They love being together. And they love multiplying each other's talents. And it starts with Koi.
Hey, PJ, I don't think I've ever told you this. You know, when I was up there for a few days a couple of years ago with you guys during training camp in August, everybody asked me, away from the X and O's, what's a memorable experience? I'll say, losing 5 pounds. I was up there, it was about 95 degrees. We were on that turf, and I was determined to keep up with you from drill to drill so I could hear what you're saying and how you were doing it. Honest to God, I said, you know what I remember? Coming back and getting on the scale and being 5 pounds trying to keep up with you. There's no reason why. I mean, now I understand why your team plays with such energy and enthusiasm. Unbelievable job, really.
Well, I appreciate that, Coach. It's the greatest weight loss plan in the country. If you want to come here and spend an internship for 2-3 weeks, we'll put you in shape. I'm a firm believer in, we don't condition players for like punishments. I want like conditioning to be an advantage. I want our teams to always play longer for harder for longer, and sustain that, and look at conditioning and the way we practice as an advantage. We're usually not on the field longer than 90 to 100 minutes. There's a play clock at 32 seconds on everything we do, no matter where we are. Whatever's going on has to be off in 32 seconds, one after another. It's controlled chaos, and it really is chaos. I want the game to slow down. I want the game to, Big Ten games are never easy, as you know, but I want it to be easier than practice. We are going to create massive amounts of pressure, and we are going to keep it constant, and we're going to do everything we possibly can to distract our players throughout practice, whether that's the music, whether that's the energy, whether that's the movement, whether that's the time constraint. Our practices are really fun to watch, in my opinion. People come from all over to watch them. They're just really hard to execute as a player, as a coach. But we take a lot of pride in how we do it. And I'm glad you got to be here with us, though, and share your wisdom with us, but also spend a lot of time with us as well.
Well, I guess now you know if Coach Wanstead keeps showing up at your practices, he's been hitting too many steakhouses here in Chicago.
If I'm not here, I'll be up there at Minnesota with P.J. So
P.J., we always appreciate the time, man. Best of luck this weekend. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Sounds good, guys. Roll the boat, Sky, and Go Gophers. Thanks for having us on.